Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with a little transfer talk show just to kind of whet the appetite, ready for the Premier League returning and all of our shows, match previews, match reactions, and everything now. Proper football is nearly back. First of all, though, we are above 2,500 subscribers, as we said on the fans forum show the other day, which is just tremendous. So thank you so much for your support. Do stay tuned. Now, we are going to we're looking at doing a competition to celebrate the fact that we've reached 2,500 subscribers. We're just working out what prizes we could offer. But do hit the like button, do hit the subscribe button to make sure you have the chance of being involved in that competition and help us on the road to 3K. We're going to be covering potential interest in England international, interest in a Wolves star who did us damage against us the other week, and a couple of news on Villa players that are attracting interest, and one who is potentially unsettled at Villa. So make sure you stick out to the end, so you get all the news on all the players that I'm talking about here. So first of all, I wanted to cover Kalvin Phillips, a player who we admired and actually bid for a few years back when under Dean Smith's era, and I think we did really try heavily to try and buy him a couple of seasons in a row. Season when we came up, and then the following season when we just about stayed up. I think we were almost looking at matching the release clause that he had, but he decided to stick it out at Leeds and then went to Man City, which by all accounts hasn't worked out as best as anyone felt anyone wanted, and he's now really not playing and almost just playing for England as it stands at the moment. But for me, I think he's a really, really good player and just someone who needs to get the fitness back and get himself back in playing regular games. But he will be wanted by many other clubs, I'm sure. I think Newcastle are rumoured to be interested. I think possibly even the likes of Liverpool. One or two other clubs, Brighton. Maybe. Potential other clubs in the Premier League that he certainly won't be lacking in suitors, and probably across Europe as well. Will be interested in, but only playing 15 times for Man City since 2022. He really does need game time. He's 27 years of age now, coming into the prime of his career, and he really does need games. And Man City have signed Kovacic, and playing Rico Lewis in central midfield as well. His days do look numbered at Man City. So for me, I think the way that he plays, that combative nature, giving us a bit more steel in that midfield, a bit more physical presence. Obviously, he's got quality as well. Can knock those longer passes, those 30, 40-yard passes, which I think would complement someone like a Louise really well, who kind of sets up the tempo for the game really well and controls the tempo of the game and can get forward as well. I think he'd really work well and would potentially work well with Kamara as well, in terms of that style. So I think it'd be a great signing personally. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments, your thoughts on Kalvin Phillips and whether we realistically got a chance of signing him. Because as I say, I'm sure there'll be many suitors. Next one is Pedro Neto, and I think I may have spoken about him before because the rumours have been quite big in terms of our interest and Emery's admiration for Pedro Neto, and you can see why. Really fast, really direct, causes problems, he's a real key player for Wolves, and you're probably talking 60, 70 million for someone like that, and I think Arsenal are definitely interested in him, and I do believe he's certainly a European level player, and would again have many suitors if he is to be made available for transfer. So I really like him. I've looking at his sofa score details. I always compare him with Leon Bailey, unfortunately for Leon Bailey, but in terms of many of the things are quite similar, but that creativity, with Netto at 78 is brilliant, and you can see why he's such a key figure for Wolves. He's played 8 games this season, started all 8, played every minute of the games. He scored 1 goal so far this season. He's assisted 5 goals though, which is fantastic. He is obviously their key man. in his own half, his passing accuracy is 84, 68% in the opposition half, but that's because he's trying those difficult passes. Successful dribbles at 56%, so teams are really fearful of him. I think he's a top quality player, can play either side as well, which is really useful. And I know there's talk of Leon Bailey signing a new contract, which is actually really good, and he deserves it if he continues with his form. But just adding those options, someone like Pedro Neto along with Moussa Diaby, along with Leon Bailey, would just be absolutely frightening for any team, any defence facing us. So again, he would be a player that I would really like. Out of any team in the Premier League, Netto is definitely up there with a player that I'd really like if he can stay fit. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Onto a Villa player who hasn't really settled into life by all accounts, Clement Lenglet. He hasn't played any time in the Premier League so far for Villa, has featured in the Europa Conference League, and actually played pretty well in the last game against Zrinski, and I'm sure he'll feature against Alkmaar, but obviously players want to be playing in the Premier League, and the reports in Spain are saying that he could well go back to Barcelona in January, whether that be him kind of looking to cancel the loan or Villa cancelling the loan. But I think it's always difficult for defenders to get that, regular game time, because we've obviously got Carlos, Pau Torres and Consat, even though Mings is injured. So he's always going to be fourth choice, really. He'll back himself, of course. But then you've got Callum Chambers as well in there. But I think he's definitely going to be used in this next 2-month period. So you should watch this space. But I thought he actually came into the game against Zrinski pretty well. It's a shame that we got knocked out against Everton in the Carabao Cup, because that's an extra game that someone like him could have played. But yeah, we'll see how he kind of develops and this story develops with Lenglet. But is he going to be a huge miss? I don't know. Could we replace him with another loan signing? Are there young players in the Villa academy that could potentially be that fourth or fifth choice centre back? Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I guess he hasn't really had the opportunity, but has he been doing enough to warrant, selection? And finally, Ollie Watkins, he's the usual when teams come back from international duty, that panic. Has he been tapped up by one or two other clubs? Arsenal now adding to the list of potential admirers with him, and obviously alongside Chelsea. I don't think he goes to either. He's just signed that 5-year deal, which protects our asset as well. And means that if he was to go anywhere, it would be for a huge sum of money. But it's interesting to see, him on the radar to many other clubs, and it's always after the comeback from the England setup that the rumours start to flow. But again, certainly don't think we do anything with Ollie Watkins in terms of listening to any noise and transfers. But you guys let me know in the comments. He's obviously scored 4 goals in recent games. Hopefully he gets back on the goal scoring trail on Sunday. He scored for England against Australia, so he's definitely full of confidence, which is great. So long may it continue, and it'll just keep his price going up and up and up and up. So all the better for Villa. That's it for the transfer talk. As I said before, we have smashed through the 2,500 barrier. So hit that like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you for all of your support. Like I say, keep your eyes peeled for a competition, but make sure you're subscribed so you can have a chance of winning. I'll be back on Thursday or Friday for the match preview for West Ham, and then obviously match reaction, fans forum, talking tactics will all be back next week. Thank you all for watching, and as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa.